So I have an amazing story for you, something I uncovered while doing research for a longer video I'll be releasing in a few weeks. It's so interesting, I had to do a second video on this. Stick around to the end, by the way, for a chance to win a signed copy of my new book on the greatest generation called That's How It Goes. So if you're a baseball fan, you're probably familiar with the term electric stuff to describe a pitcher who is on top of his game. Me growing up in the 80s, it seemed like Dwight Gooden, Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, and other flamethrowers had their electric stuff every night. These days, virtually everyone has electric stuff just to make it to the big leagues. But what if I told you that the term electric stuff actually originated in the early part of the 20th century? That it wasn't really used to describe a pitcher's hard-throwing prowess, but rather traces its origins to one of the strangest events in Major League history. Heck, one of the strangest events in sports history. Well, what I'm about to tell you is hard to believe, but it really did happen. I'm not making this up. It was August 24th, 1919, and by all accounts, an uncomfortably muggy day at League Park in Cleveland. The first place Indians were hosting the Philadelphia Athletics in front of 20,000 fans. They were excited to see their new pitcher, their journeyman Ray Caldwell, who was recently let go by the Boston Red Sox. So once upon a time, Caldwell had been regarded as a generational talent, one of those guys with transcendent stuff that screamed can't miss potential. So much so that the famed writer Grantland Rice once said Caldwell could be as great as Christy Mathewson or Walter Johnson. But years of hard drinking and erratic behavior had left him a shell of his former self. And by 1919, Caldwell was desperate for a last chance to show that he could still play the game. He no longer had his dominant fastball and nasty curve, but he did sport one of the game's best spitballs, which in 1919 was still legal, by the way. That's hard to believe. On this particular afternoon, he had total command of his spitter. The Athletics were flummoxed by the way it bobbed and weaved through the air, impervious to contact. A combination of the bright sunshine and saliva-ridden ball had resulted in just 4 base runners for the A's through the first 8 innings, giving the Indians a slim 1-run lead heading into the top of the 9th inning. Fans would later say that they noticed dark clouds seemingly materialize out of Lake Erie and descend upon the stadium with alarming speed, practically enveloping it. What had been a sunshine-splashed Chamber of Commerce type day quickly turned ominous as Caldwell and the Indians took to the field to finish off the Athletics. With droplets of rain beginning to sprinkle from the heavens, Caldwell worked extra fast, hoping to avoid a rain delay. He quickly got ahead of the first batter and induced a meek pop-up to the shortstop for out number 1. A nasty spitter resulted in a second infield pop-up, and Caldwell and the Indians were now 1 out away from besting the A's. So by this time, the wind was howling. It's as if the stadium was mired in a total eclipse and had become so dark. Some fans had already scattered from League Park, a combination of the rain and a sense of foreboding chasing them away. Now try to visualize this. Caldwell is towing the rubber and leaning in to get the sign when a flash from the sky explodes into the middle of the field. Indian shortstop Ray Chapman would later say he felt a surge of electricity go down his leg, and the violence of the lightning strike causes the players to dive for the ground. "I took off my metal mask and threw it as far as I could," said Cleveland catcher Steve O'Neill after the game. "I didn't want to attract any bolts towards me." Just amazing. For what seemed like minutes following the lightning strike, the players were still staring at each other in disbelief. The 8 Indian position players were okay, but their newest teammate was not. On the mound lay Ray Caldwell, arms spread wide, completely unconscious. The lightning bolt had struck him directly. I mean, can you imagine that? A direct hit. Players rushed to aid Caldwell, but the first man who touched him leapt into the air, saying he had been zapped by Caldwell's prone body. The players and umps stared over Caldwell, his chest smoldering from where the bolt burnt it. Shortstop Ray Chapman blurted out to nobody in particular, "Is he dead?" The players were terrified to touch him, to even take his pulse. Nobody knew what to do. Believe it or not, they were ready to pronounce Caldwell dead when the 31-year-old pitcher started groaning and slowly crawled back to his knees, then his feet. Though his teammates were thrilled to see him alive, they kept their distance from the guy whose chest was on fire just minutes before. One of the umpires offered to assist him off the field and take him to a hospital, but Caldwell would have none of it. "I have one more out to get," he testily barked at the ump as he shooed him away. Caldwell argued the point with the Indians player-manager, the legendary Tris Speaker, and his intransigence wins the day as Speaker reluctantly let him stay on the field and try to record the final out. "Give me the dang ball and point me towards the plate," he commanded shortstop Ray Chapman, who was still in semi-disbelief that Caldwell was alive and pitching. The umpires lingered around the mound as the players slowly took to their positions. A's shortstop Joe Dugan digs into the batter's box, waiting for the umps to signal play ball. The umps sort of look at each other for an extra beat and just shrug their shoulders. "Play ball," one of them says meekly. By this time, most of the fans had scattered in the chaos of the lightning strike, but for the few hardy souls who stuck around, they're about to witness the conclusion of the strangest game in Major League Baseball history. With the first pitch, Caldwell grooves a fastball to Dugan, who hits a screaming line drive to the third baseman Willie Gardner, who knocks it down with his chest, rushes the throw to first, and edges out Dugan. And with that, Ray Caldwell, in his first start as a Cleveland Indian, pitches a complete game victory, which includes being struck by lightning. We do a lot of videos on War Hero badasses, but I have to say that Ray Caldwell is a total badass. With the media after the game, Ray Caldwell was as curt as he was brief. "I just wanted to complete the game," he hurriedly told reporters as he rushed from the clubhouse, purportedly to hit his favorite watering hole. You can hardly blame the man. As if this story isn't fascinating enough, there's actually an interesting footnote. Really, two footnotes. 17 days after being struck by lightning, Ray Caldwell would pitch a no-hitter against one of his former teams, the New York Yankees. Someone on his team jokingly told the press afterwards that he had electric stuff, and that's where the term originated. It stuck. His stuff would remain electric for the rest of the year as he went 5-1 with the Indians and nearly led them past the White Sox, who would famously go on to throw the World Series. The following year, he actually notched a 20-win season. Sadly, that would be the same year that the Indians shortstop Ray Chapman tragically died after being beamed in the head by Yankees Carl Mays. His death prompted several rule changes, including banning the spitball and requiring dirty balls to come out of play. So the next time you hear some pitcher has electric stuff, just remember, he's no Ray Caldwell. As I mentioned, I have a new novel out called That's How It Goes. It's a coming-of-age story set during World War II. Leave a comment on the pitcher you think had the most electric stuff in history, and we'll pick one random winner for a signed copy. And hit like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a review at Amazon. Till next time, I'm Nick Ragone.